Okay, so I'm going to demo how to do a palm tree in soft pastel. So I just put like the branches out first, and now I'm just going through with the green pastel outwards from those branches, pressing hardest against the kind of like vein of the branch, I guess, where the little leaves come out of, and then quickly lifting the pastel after that to get kind of the tapered points to the leaves. Okay, and now I'm just adding some highlights onto that kind of center part of the palm leaf. And then also just changing the green, modulating a little bit to make it more of a yellow green on the leaves as well. Okay, and then I'll add a little bit more darks in some places, kind of working back and forth between the two lights and darks. Now I'm going to add some more detail and value to the trunk. I'm looking at where the light values are and applying kind of a yellow, and then I'm going to add some brown into that to kind of break it up and add some texture. And then just kind of work back and forth kind of between the lights and the darks. So that's very much like a way to kind of make it look and feel like paint, kind of mixing the colors back and forth. Okay, so starting this next tree, I just sketched out some branches. Now I'm going to plunk in the green leaves with kind of a like scumbling texture with the side of the darkest green pastel that I have in my set. You can mix different kinds of greens by thinking about your analogous color scheme. Green plus yellow is going to make your yellow green. And so now I'm plunking in kind of like a warmer, more neutral yellow, and then I'm going in with another green that I have in my set. And so this green, which is going to be the more dominant color when I'm finished with this tree, is being applied with more of a broken color texture over top of that scumbling of the darker green. And so I'm going all around kind of creating the imitation of or the impression of little green leaves around the entire tree. And so I am kind of using the pastel more on its edge. All right, and so now I'm going to add this yellow over top. And so this is going to mix more of like a yellow green. And so by putting this over top, I'm really breaking up the texture and making the impression that there are a lot of leaves. I'm also making the impression that the sun is hitting the tree. And so as I'm applying this yellow, I want to think about like, okay, well, where is the sun hitting the tree the most? Like what direction is the sun shining from? And how are the leaves and kind of groupings of leaves reflecting that sunlight where are they reflecting it the most? And so I'm just working around. I do kind of go a little bit more of a scumbly texture with that yellow just to kind of blend the previous greens a little bit. Okay, now going in the blue and thinking about the opposite of what I did with the yellow. Where are the shadows in these kind of clumpings and groupings of leaves being falling? And I'm using the blue to kind of place that. And now I'm just kind of pulling out the tree branches. I'm not going to draw the branches over top of the leaves, but in the empty areas between the groupings of leaves, if there's a branch visible there, I want to place it. I am using the photo as a reference. I'm not copying the photo. Okay, and then I added a little blue to the trunk just to kind of darken it up. Okay, so for the pine tree, so I want to look at where the darks are in the pine tree. I'm going to place a little bit of the complement in those dark areas and kind of throughout the tree a little bit just to neutralize the greens in places. Okay, the tree that's behind that's darker, I'm putting more red in that because that's going to be more neutral and it's going to be darker, kind of be more in shadow than this tree that's in the front of it. They are different kinds of pine trees. Okay, now I'm going to take this green through and mix it with the red. And so it's going to create more of a shadow tone, a neutral green. It's like a cool tone. So it's going to make areas recede and go back in space. And so I'm just kind of going over all of the red with that. And then I'm going to break up the areas where I don't have any pastel yet with just some quick, loose scumbling. Okay, so just kind of like quick, loose, like figure eight mark making. All right, now I'm going to add some yellow and kind of work in the lights. And so I want to think about, okay, where is the sun hitting these trees? How can I apply the yellow so it reflects what the direction of the sun is? And so I want to make sure that I place that. And I'm also going in a scumbly motion to kind of mix some new colors. That yellow is mixing with the green and creating a yellow green. And so I'm thinking about that analogous color scheme as I'm working here, in addition to using the complement of green, red. Okay, and now I want to kind of pull that back tree back down in value by putting this dark green in. I'm working over my shadow areas and kind of like creating some more depth with the green again. And now I'm going to go in with some blue and kind of just break it up, focusing on the shadows, but then also adding a little bit of that blue to kind of accent and kind of delineate the forms from each other and also kind of break up the overall green to make it seem more like there are some small shadows popping in to the areas of the pine tree, even where the sun is hitting it. So it's just all about applying different colors in making sure that the proportion of the color that's being applied where makes sense for the light source and how it's reflecting it.